that is the very obvious question people have. How is it that someone convicted of an offence then has no sort of repercussions in terms of what their status of being able to stay in the UK is? Can you explain that to us?
Sure. Look, there's two ways the Secretary of State can remove someone because of criminality. One is through the automatic deportation mechanism. That's if anybody's been convicted of a criminal offence carrying more than 12 months imprisonment. And what normally happens is that 1 year before they complete their sentence, they are removed. The whole process can take a few weeks if it's a really serious offence, but on average, it takes about 3 years really to remove somebody through that process. Now, if someone's convicted of offence less than 12 months, the Home Office the Secretary of State can still remove them on the grounds that it's not conducive to public good. So the Home Office does have powers to do that. It's not automatic, but the Secretary of State can make that decision. The balancing exercise in all this is why they shouldn't be removed, because everyone has a right to challenge deportation. And quite often it's because they've got family members here. Quite often they've got children here. I dealt with a case recently, somebody who'd got convicted of carrying a weapon and kidnapping somebody who'd been here 40 years, but he's got 3 children and a British-born wife here. He'd served his sentence, came out, rehabilitated, and we successfully challenged his deportation on that basis. But he'd been here 40 years. So there is a balancing exercise in removing people. But I agree, Azadi's case is quite disturbing because many people are converted to Christianity. And it wasn't the Home Office who granted him refugee status, it was the courts. The leading case on this is Dorodian. It's an old case. And what it said was it's not enough to get a letter from a priest. I think what we should have is a priest giving oral evidence so they can be cross-examined by the Home Office and why they believe the conversion is genuine. It's not enough just to have a piece of paper and a letter supporting someone's conversion. It needs to be tested. We may even consider, this might sound a bit bizarre, but in America they use polygraphs to test if someone really is telling the truth, because otherwise it's impossible to tell. Someone can be a very good liar and pull the wool over the Home Office's eyes.
Sorry to interrupt. To what extent is this conversion becoming a wheeze?
Well, I dealt with a 12-year-old girl who converted, and she had a vision of Jesus Christ. That's what she said. The Home Office spent 9 hours drilling her on the Bible, and it was a genuine conversion because for somehow she knew almost everything, responses that they asked her about the Bible, about the faith. So I think that there is ways you can test it, but there are disgenuine claims, because if somebody's desperate not to go home, they'll do anything, claim anything to remain here. So I think we need to raise the benchmark for the evidential benchmark for people converting. And also, I think maybe we need to look at the Refugee Convention again. It's not fit for purpose, in my view, because over the last, say, since 51, since it was 90 years, it was really meant for people fleeing political persecution. For example, somebody who's being hunted down by the government because of their political views. It's morphed into something else. It's morphed into people claiming protection for all sorts of reasons. I'm not sure we're responsible for people converting to Christianity all around the world. And if people do that, can they make a beeline for the UK? I'm not sure that's what the purpose of the Refugee Convention was.
Ivon, just before you go, do you think Piers Morgan's going to win his bet with Rishi Sunak? Do you think there'll be anyone on a plane to Rwanda by the end of the year?
It's difficult to say. I mean, there's going to be a conflict between the courts and the government, because the government's trying to shackle the way the courts are going to decide matters. They're saying, don't look at that because we tell you not to look at that, even though if you look at that, you're going to go against us. So it's quite a challenging, it's going to be quite an interesting thing, the courts, to look at this. I don't think there'll be anyone sent to Rwanda, and I think there was a bet. I think Rishi took that bet, seen by millions of people, and he's got to pay if he doesn't win.